Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? First things first, I need to confess. You see this plant right here? I just moved it there. You see this plant right here? It was behind me here, so I wanted to make sure it was seen. Greenery, symmetry, whatever. So now that I got that off my chest, let's dive into this. So this is for those people that are ready to make the plunge into Amazon. They're at the very first step. Maybe they've done some research and they're ready to sign up. I don't want to overcomplicate this. It's not that hard of a process, but there are some bits and pieces that I remember signing up for. I had to do additional research on because I wanted to make sure that I did it properly. But before we dive into that, just know that if you did do anything incorrectly, although it may slow down your process of getting approved, it's not like you're automatically X'd out, okay? So we'll talk about that as we dive in. And for the record, I'm Jonathan. This is Duke Does Amazon, my Amazon selling channel. I've been doing primarily retail arbitrage and Amazon FBA for about a year and a half. Really started when COVID hit the fan, affected my small business. I always bought and sold things. And basically I just submerged myself in YouTube and I learned a ton, made a lot of mistakes, made good decisions, took action. And I don't say this lightly, it's quite literally changed my life. And here I am wanting to share my experience, document my journey, and lessons that I've learned along the way. So again, first things first, we're signing up, right? So you're gonna go to sellercentral.amazon.com, okay? And from here, this is a good point for us to say there are two selling options, okay? You have the most common, let's say, is what is referred to as a pro seller account. You're gonna see on the screen there's a sign up button, I think in two different places with a yellow background, very front and center. That application will lead you down the path of a pro seller account. A pro seller account is $39.99 per month, okay? And that's what I'm gonna focus on today. I do want you to know that there's another account called an individual seller account. It's much harder to find. You have to click on I think the Learn More button. And I'll have pop-ups throughout this video, by the way, but the Learn More button, and then if you scroll down, there's like one line of text where if you click on it, it leads you to that. So from what I gather, that's a much more easy process to get started with. That's for people that don't have a business or want to start it at that level. My 2 cents is this. I'm so big on taking action that whatever it takes for you to start, go for it. I understand that you might say, I don't want to spend $39.99 a month right out the bat before I even have products to sell. I get that. So what I would say then, if you're one of those people, sign up for the individual seller account, and once you surpass 40 items per month that you're sending into Amazon, make the switch. And just to be clear why I say when you sell more than 40 items per month, I don't think I mentioned, but in an individual seller account, you don't have a monthly fee, but you do pay $1 for every item that you sell. So naturally, once you sell more than 40 items, it would be cheaper to just be a pro seller account at a monthly fee of $39.99. Again, you can always switch one way or the other. So if you really want to wait till the last minute to pay, you can definitely start as the individual seller and then make the switch. And actually, a lot of these things that we're going over, it's never like super concrete that you can't switch, whether it be your business name, your bank account, your phone number, whatever. You can make switches later on, so don't let that stuff stop you, all right? So now that we know the two most common options, we're gonna proceed as if we're applying for a pro seller account, which is what I have, and which hopefully you'll get to, because very quickly, once you get like in the groove, you'll send way more than 40 products in a month, okay? And by the way, the fees after that are a wash. Regardless of account, Amazon's taking their fees regardless, okay? All right, so next, to sign up, it's gonna have you enter your email address. At this point, there's places you can already enter it. And just so you know, if you have an Amazon account, meaning that like you shop on Amazon, you're a buyer, you can use that same email address right here and start out with that, and then it would prompt you that way. I would suggest to click on the other buttons that says create an Amazon account and use a new email address. I think anybody that has sold on Amazon for any amount of time would make the exact same emphasis on opening a new email account. Go to Gmail, it'll take 2 minutes, it's free. Really, the reason for that is because you're gonna get a lot of notifications, a lot of emails, and it just, from customers, from Amazon, you don't want it to get muddled or lost with your personal email account. Not to mention, if you manage your personal email account, now you're gonna have so many more emails coming in. It's just such a simple fix. Go sign up. Trust me, I know you don't know what you don't know, but take it from someone that's been there. You're gonna wanna have a separate email address, okay? So sign up with that, and then we'll go from there, okay? So now you're gonna see on the screen, there's basically 4 sections, 4 pillars. One of them is gonna be your business and contact address. That's pretty important. I'll walk through that. Mobile phone, that's really straightforward. You need to have a cell phone that you can respond to for confirmation and verification purposes. Link to your account. Chargeable credit card. Again, you're paying a monthly fee of $39.99. Important point right here, I wanna say, do not sign up with a debit card. I repeat, do not sign up with a debit card. Amazon will not move you along the process, and this will be a hiccup in your application process to get you going, only setting you back further. So for the 3rd time, do not use a debit card, specifically use a credit card. It could be your business credit card, it can be an individual credit card, it could always be switched later on, but you need to have a credit card, okay? And then lastly, the 4th one is identity details, basically stuff like either a driver's license or a passport, also a bank statement or utility statement as well. Okay, so basically that's the 4 pillars. I'm gonna walk you through the points now that I think everybody could use a little bit of guidance on. Some of them are super straightforward, like phone number, your address, stuff like that. So I think the biggest thing is, for those stuff that we don't dive into, just triple check that they're accurate. If anything's incorrect in general, you're only gonna set yourself further back in the process, all right? So let's get going now. So now that we have all that out of the way, there's gonna be a drop down, and basically you're gonna make a selection. There's a couple of different variations. Just know everyone here is pretty much one of 2 things. Either you're privately owned, you are a corporation, an LLC, you make that selection if you are a business, or you're not operating as a business, you would select none, I'm selling as an individual, okay? That is referred to as what's called a sole proprietorship. I'll say this now, I always treat this and tell people to treat this like a business. Regardless of how small or big you want this to be, I would strongly advise right off the bat, or very soon after, separate credit card, separate bank account, create an entity. The corporation or the LLC gives you a layer of protection that gives me peace of mind in a very sue happy world, that if someone were to come after my Amazon business, they're not gonna come after my personal assets, Jonathan's personal assets. In theory, that's the whole point of the protection of those. Also, I carry insurance. We can talk about that at another time. But just as a whole, accounting purposes and everything else, I strongly advise to treat this like a business. With that said, if that's gonna prevent you from starting today, I would say take action today and always make the transition as soon as possible. I know an LLC or a corporation can be like a daunting task, but just know you're not the first person to ever sign up for one, I assure you. It's easy, it's affordable, you can do it yourself or outsource it for like $100 and it's a pretty quick turnaround. I would strongly advise that, and that's what I'll leave it at for now, okay? So after that, you're gonna want to make your selection there. Again, basically everyone here is one of those 2. You're gonna enter your business name, or if you're a sole proprietor, your individual name. Again, make sure it's properly spelled out correctly, no mistakes there. And then also it's gonna ask for, after that, your company registration number. If you're a business, you're gonna have what is called an EIN. That's basically a tax identification number for businesses. Think of it as like a social security number for businesses. You get it from the IRS. Once you apply, it really takes like 24 hours, if that, to get it. So it's a really seamless process, okay? Do a quick YouTube search on how to do that, or whoever's helping you create your LLC or corporation. It's just hand in hand with that, okay? If you are a sole proprietor doing this individually, you're gonna wanna use your social security number, okay? All right. So then another drop down that's gonna appear is jurisdiction, and it's gonna have all the states wherever you are operating and you signed up for. Typically go hand in hand for most people, but jurisdiction, from my understanding, is gonna be the state that you signed up your business. Your business is registered in that state, okay? So make your selection there. Business address. This is really important. For one, make sure it's accurate. For two, don't just type in an address maybe that you're living in to make things easy. If you have a business, your business has a specific address to it, all right? And maybe it has a separate mailing address, then regular address, whatever it is, it's on file. Make sure that you put the appropriate one, okay? And the reason I say make sure it's accurate, once again, it could slow down your process, but Amazon, after you submit your application, you don't just instantly get access. They then send you a physical postcard, which you have to use the code on it to verify your account. So make sure you're putting the address correctly and to a place that you are gonna receive the mail, okay? Now also keep in mind, many businesses, myself included, I use a home address for my business address. If it's an internet-based business, I don't have a brick and mortar, that's very, very common, no big deal, but you wanna make sure that that address is registered as your business address as well, okay? So you're gonna look for that postcard, and that's why it's important to have it correct. Okay, so from there, one of the questions is gonna ask you, are you the beneficial owner? Basically meaning that you're gonna click yes if you're doing this application yourself. You would click no, or the other option if a legal representative did this for you. Maybe you hired somebody or a manager did this for you. You wouldn't select yes. Yes is for me, Jonathan. I am filling this out for my business and I am the owner of the business. All right, I'm not paying an outside company or organization to do this on my behalf. Okay, another question is, or statement, I have added all of the owners, yes or no, basically. And so if you are the sole owner of the business, again, you're gonna select yes. And if there's other business owners and partners, you're gonna select no. And I imagine it would prompt you to have to complete that information as well. I'm the sole owner of my business. I selected yes for both of those, okay? All right, so now you'll see also another advantage of being a pro seller. You're gonna see something about the marketplaces. Amazon uses the term marketplaces basically just for their selling platforms, okay? So like, if you live in the United States, selling on Amazon to US customers is the US marketplace. If you sell on Amazon and things can be sold to Japan, that's the Japanese marketplace. So you'll see that there's gonna be a couple marketplaces here. All of them should be selected. There is no harm in having more opportunity to sell your goods, okay? So you might as well have them all selected there. All right, so moving on, as far as billing, you're gonna have your business credit card. All right, so again, not a debit card. If you have a business and you have a business credit card, use that. Any credit card that's working will do. But again, I strongly advise to treat this like a business and have your stuff in a row. All right, store name. Don't overcomplicate this. You can always change it. This is also referred to as like your handle. So like if you buy something from someone on Amazon, you might see Jonathan123. That's what it's referred to as my store name. You can have fun with it. You can be generic with it. I would just say don't pick a niche name. Like for instance, Pets R Us, right? If you're planning on selling everything under the sun, I can't really see that making sense, although I don't think it would be the worst thing in the world. But if I'm a customer and I see a pet storefront name, I might not have the same level of comfort or trust when I'm buying non-pet supplies. I don't really see any advantage unless you do have a specific niche that you do want to focus on. That could be the exception. Again, you can always change this, all right? So now you're gonna be asked a couple questions. One, do you own or have any UPC codes? That's basically barcodes. If you're doing retail arbitrage, you're gonna click no. Once again, we're just reselling. We're not creating products. We're not creating barcodes. We're just reselling. That would be for someone if they did what's called private label and created their own product and their own brand, basically, just so you know. Another question, speaking of, is are you a manufacturer or brand? If you're a reseller like myself, no, I'm not Nike, I'm not Adidas, I am a reseller. I didn't make the product, I didn't brand the product, I'm just reselling. So click no. And then do you have any trademarks? Again, as a reseller, you're not. You're just gonna click no, okay? And then from there, we're gonna go into the identity portion of this. As I mentioned earlier, driver's license or passport, your bank statement's gonna be asked. When you do that, make sure that, like, if you're doing this as a business, you're using your your business bank account. If you're a sole proprietor or individual, your individual account. Want to make sure your names are matching up to what your application is, okay? And so I would also suggest, if you have a bank account, use with one of the main ones like Bank of America, Chase, Wells Fargo. Use that as an extra layer of just credibility when you're doing this. It's just more of a seamless process to get you going, all right? So I can't say that Amazon wouldn't take other institutions, but everything that I've done research on and from my own experience, like I use Bank of America, I've had no issues with it whatsoever, which kind of makes sense when you think about it, right? So other than that, just everything else we didn't go over. It's pretty straightforward, like phone number and making sure that everything is entered correctly. Well, it's not the end of the world, but it's going to just be delays on your process, which you don't want. Make sure you're using a credit card. I know I've said that multiple times, not a debit card. Make sure your addresses are correct and match up. Make sure everything's legible as far as the uploads and stuff like that. And just keep in mind, whatever you start with today, you can always change essentially everything down the road. Nothing is concrete. I think the best piece of advice is to get started. You've made it this far. Don't let this or the fear of one day having to open an LLC get in your way. It's such a simple and easy task. I totally get that it could be daunting if you're new to it, but there's so much resources and help out there that millions and millions have come before you and done this. It's really pretty harmless. So yeah, so that's really it, guys. I hope that helps. Take action, figure it out as you go. And then once you click submit, you're gonna wait for that postcard. It's not gonna happen overnight. And as I said, I really suggest treat this like a business and everything that entails, from credit cards to bank account to proper corporations or incorporating. Think about insurance sooner than later. That's a conversation for another day. I carry insurance. Most sellers are not only required to once they sell over $10,000 a month for 3 consecutive months, but it just makes sense, right? And so I'm all about protecting yourself, especially it's a couple $100s a month. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I hope this helps you with the sign up process. If you have any questions, drop them below. We're on Instagram, Duke Does Amazon. Other than that, have a great day, guys, and I will see you soon.